All right. So, how's everybody doing this morning? Terrific. There we go. So the pollen counts are a little high again. I don't know if you've noticed. Yeah, anybody with breathing difficulties, just remember breathing in through your nose filters and prepares the air to before it gets to your lungs. So it warms it and cools it to the right temperature. It gets it just where it needs to be, and it filters out all the kind of icky stuff that's out there right now. So, and you know how to keep your nose clean, right? Yeah. All right. Good. Lavage, right. Of course. Yes, the nasal lavage, right. Yes. So if you want to be fancy, you can call it that. All right. So check for cell phones. Just make sure cell phones are off. I know I checked mine on the way in too, because I was like, All right. Good, good. So come right up to the front of your chair once you've got your electronics in hand. And put your feet on the floor, both of them. Right, lift your toes up, spread them out a little bit, place them down. Just notice what your feet feel like this morning. So can you feel all the parts of your feet that are in contact with the floor? The heels, the big and little toe ball mounds here, right? And then the bottoms of your toes. And see if you can feel a little bit of a lift in your arch, even if you have flat feet. If your arches are collapsed a little bit, see if you can feel a little bit of lift in that area. And press down. Not enough like you were going to stand up, but kind of in that vein, right? So you just kind of press down a little bit and notice where you tend to press more. Do you press more in your toes? Do you press more in your heels, in the outer edges or the inner edges? And then as you're pressing down, see if you can even that out so that it's kind of balanced between the toes and the heels, the inside and outside edges. And as you're pressing down into your feet, see if you can feel your leg muscles firm up a little bit. So the front and the backs of your legs, and even up into your backside, into your glutes. And then notice if you're leaning forward a little bit in your chair, because you're probably inspecting your feet. So if you want to sit up a little bit, get your shoulders over your hips. So you kind of lined up that way. And when you get your shoulders over your hips, you should feel your belly actually engage a little bit too, right? So there's all these things going on, and is anybody breathing while you're doing all this? Right, so we're checking in with all these little things in the body. And now relax your jaw. So if your teeth are clenched, bring a little space between your teeth. Close your eyes when that feels comfortable to do, or if it doesn't feel comfortable to close your eyes, you can just drop your gaze down at the floor. And now focus on your breathing. Notice the way air is moving in and out through your nose, hopefully. And notice if your breath is fast or slow this morning, if it's shallow or deep. Notice if the air moves more easily through one side of your nose than the other. And then start to deepen your breath. So let it take a little bit longer to inhale and to exhale. So you might just expand the inhalation a little bit more and extend the exhalation a little bit more. And to get a good exhalation, pull your belly in a bit. So by pulling your belly in, you're actually forcing a little bit more pressure up into the upper part of your abdomen where your diaphragm is. And that's what helps push out the air. So let your inhales be long and slow and deep. And let your exhales be nice and long. Maybe even a little bit longer than your inhales. And the exhale is important for the inhale because you can't inhale breath if you've got too much of the old stale stuff hanging around in your lungs. So you might think of your exhalations like wringing out a sponge. So if you want to sop up some more water, that would be your inhalation. You got to have a nice dry sponge. You can't have a wet, soggy sponge. So the exhalations are like squeezing the sponge, and the inhalations are like mopping up a little bit more water with the sponge. And as you're doing this long, slow, deep breathing, notice where in your body you feel expansion and contraction. Do you feel your belly expanding and contracting? Do you feel your rib cage moving in and out? Can you feel your chest rising and falling? And as you're doing these long, slow, deep breaths in and out, notice the pause between the inhalation and the exhalation, and then the other pause between the exhalation and the inhalation. So there are two pauses, one after you inhale and one after you exhale. And they're usually very short, but they're there. Paying attention to these pauses now, see if you can create a little longer pause. After you inhale, hold your breath for just a beat or two, and then exhale. And then hold your breath out for a beat or two before you inhale. So we're just giving a little acknowledgement to the pauses, giving a little more space for the pauses. The pauses are a suspension of the inhalation and exhalation. And they're important. They're important for the nervous system. They're an important way to shift gears. So breathing in and out deeply, paying special attention to the pauses. Notice how much is involved in your breathing. And the next time that you inhale, hold the pause for just a beat or two, and then instead of exhaling, take in a little more breath. So you're doing like 2 inhales. And then exhale with a sigh. And then go back to your natural breath, letting the air move in and out. Noticing if you just have greater awareness of your breath. And let your eyes gently open. So sitting with your shoulders nice and straight, kind of coming forward, turn your head as far to the right as you can. Try not to turn your body, try not to turn your back or your shoulders, but turn your head as far to the right as you can and let your eyes move as far around in the eye sockets as they'll go. And notice what you can see in your direct vision and then what you can see in your peripheral vision. So the direct vision is the stuff you can see fairly clearly, and the peripheral vision is the sort of foggy, hazy stuff that's just within the corner of your eye reach. And then slowly bring your head back to center, and we'll go to the left, same thing. So try not to move your body, don't twist your shoulders, don't twist your back, just turn your head as far as it'll go. And you may not get the same range here. Turn your eyes as far around in the eye sockets as they'll go. Notice what you see in your direct vision. Notice what you see in your peripheral vision on this side. Come back to center. Close your eyes really briefly here. And I just want you to remember what you could see on the right and what you could see on the left. And just store that in a little parking spot in your brain for now. We'll come back to that later. Let your eyes gently open. We're going to bring the chin down toward the chest, and there's a little bit of a notch here in the collarbones. I'm going to have you pull your chin back toward that notch. So instead of just dropping your head down, you're going to go down and back a little bit. And then slowly lift your head up, lifting your nose, and then coming back down, tucking the chin right into the collarbones. Breathing in and breathing out, we're just going to keep moving up and down. So it's like you're doing a really slow motion yes. If any of this hurts in your neck or your back, just don't go quite so far. Now, for some of us, it's easier to lift the chin. For some of us, it's easier to tuck the chin. I think for most people, it's easier to lift the chin because that's a position where our heads are in quite a bit. Good. And then come back to sort of that neutral position. Bring your right ear toward your right shoulder, and then come back to center. Left ear to left shoulder, and we're just going to go back and forth a few times. So moving from side to side, breathing in, breathing out. And you're not moving your body, you're just moving your head, right? So it's just the head that's moving on the neck. Now this can be a little tricky if you have neck issues or upper back issues. And as you bring your ear to one shoulder, really pull it down as if you could get that ear right onto the shoulder, but don't lift the shoulder toward the ear. So the ear is trying to touch the shoulder, and the shoulder is a little disinterested in what's happening with the ear. So just a couple more of these. Going from side to side, getting a good stretch here. Good. And then coming back to center. Okay, so now we're going to turn and look up to the left as far as you can. And then turn and look down to the right as far as you can. And again, we're just making this movement from the neck, so continue going up and down. So it's kind of at a diagonal. And you want your eyes to be moving in the eye sockets as well, so you're not simply turning your head. A nice way to do this is to lead with the eyes. So when your head is down, turn your eyes first, and then let your head follow your eyes. And when your head is up, turn your eyes down. And just one more time, up and down. Breathing in, breathing out. Good. And coming back to center. And then the other way. So we're going to look up and to the right, and then down and to the left. So your head is turning. Your shoulders are straight. Your body is relaxed. Your breath is smooth. And you're noticing. No, it's easier for me to look up when I'm going to the right, or it's easier for me to look up when I'm going to the left, or whatever the case may be. And one more time, up and down. Again, breathing in and breathing out, letting the eyes do the leading. Coming back to center. Good. Let's roll the shoulders up and around a few times. So as you're rolling your shoulders, see if you can make really big circles with the shoulders. So pull the shoulders down toward the floor and then lift them up toward the ears. So now the shoulders are moving toward the ears, but the ears really could not care less about the shoulders. So it's what did they say? Quid pro quo, right? And then reverse direction. So going around the other way. Notice if you hear anything in there. Any noise in the shoulders this morning? Any noise in the neck or the arms this morning? Good. And then relax that a little bit. Now take your hands up in front with your palms facing forward and push as far away as you can. And as you're pushing now, I'm going to have you push more and round through the upper back so you can see what my back is doing. And then we're going to pull back and squeeze the shoulder blades together as you bring your elbows behind you. So we're just doing this movement. And try not to use your low back to create the movement. In other words, you don't want to be doing this whole movement. You want to be doing the movement from the upper back. So we're trying to get those shoulder blades to move a little independently on the back. Shoulder blades get stuck for a lot of us. When we sit in a particular position or we hold a particular position for a period of time, the shoulder blades can become kind of glued to the back. So a couple more of these. And the next time that you come back, we're going to hold back here. You're going to take the arms back behind with the palms facing up. And you can bring your hands wide if your chair is kind of in the way. And we're just going to lift and kind of flutter the arms a little. Now notice if you're leaning forward like the prow of the ship, right? So you want to keep your chin tucked in a little bit and lift those arms a little higher. Squeeze the shoulder blades a little more. So palms up is going to help you to accomplish that a little bit easier than palms down because it rotates your humerus in that shoulder socket a little bit more. Good. Now lift as high as you can. Breathe. Feel the tension in your arms. If you've got tension in your neck, relax your neck. Breathing in, breathing out. Can you lift a little higher? Oh, I knew you could. Good. Great. And then slowly lower the arms all the way down. Let them hang down by your sides. Just notice how heavy your arms are all of a sudden, right? Holy smokes. All right, let's take that right arm. I'm going to sweep it across to the left. Turn your palm up and go way around to the back. And turn the palm down as you come forward. So we're just going to do this movement. This is the Vanna White, right? Everybody knows Vanna. Good. So breathing in, breathing out, feeling that shoulder movement happening. Now, if you want to twist in your chair a little bit, you can certainly do that. So kind of get the upper spine involved, right? Try not to slide your bum on the chair, though, because that's not really twisting your spine. That's just polishing the chair. So we just want to have the movement in the spine and in the muscles around the spine and the rib cage, right? It's not just your spine that's moving. So the next time that your arm is all the way over to the left, we're going to hold here. And as you hold your arm to the left, turn to the right. Take your left hand, pull that arm over to the left a little bit more. So you're turning your head to the right, your arm is over to the left, and you're going to lift and lower your chin like you're saying yes. So we did a little yes with the head forward. Now we're doing a little yes with the head to the side. Good. Breathing in, breathing out. Excellent. And then release the head, release the arm. Let's sweep it back around. Just give that shoulder a little twirl. And then we'll take the left arm, same thing. So palm down over to the right, palm up as we come back and around to the left. So breathing in, breathing out, and reach your fingers as much as you can, right? So lengthen that arm as long as it can be. Try and keep your hand below your shoulder, though, because sometimes we get the arm way up here and we actually create more compression in the shoulder joint. Excuse me. So you can turn your body as well, if you'd like. So you get a little movement in the spine here. Good. Just a couple more of these. See if you can feel that when you come back. See if you can feel it stretching your chest, and when you come forward, see if you can feel it stretching your upper back. Next time your arm is over to the right, we're going to hold it there. Reach, reach, reach as far as you can. Turn and look out over the left shoulder. And then take your right hand and just pull that arm in a little bit more. And now lift and lower your chin like you're saying yes. Breathing in, breathing out. Excellent. Couple more. Good. And then head back to center. Release that arm. Let's twirl that shoulder around just a little bit. Great. Take your right arm, sweep it out to the side and around behind you. Bend your elbow and let the arm rest on the small of your back. Take your left hand and grab hold of your hand or your wrist or your forearm or whatever you can get there. Just kind of pull that arm over a bit so you feel a little bit of a stretch here on this side, relaxing the neck and the jaw. And then you're going to dip your left ear toward your left shoulder. So left ear toward the left shoulder. And relax your neck. Relax your head. So your chin is facing forward. You're not looking up toward the ceiling or down toward the floor. Your chin is kind of facing forward. And then we're going to rotate like we're saying no. So turn the nose down and up and down and up. Breathing in, breathing out. And notice if this is difficult or fairly easy. If turning in one direction feels better than the other. Good. And then head can come back to center. Let's lift it up. Let's take that arm out from your back and just kind of shake it out a little bit. Take your left arm, same thing. We're going to sweep it around behind the back. Grab hold of the hand or the wrist or the forearm, whatever you can get back there, and just give it a little gentle tug over to the right. And now drop your right ear to your right shoulder. Breathing in, breathing out. So once again, you're not looking up and you're not looking down. Your head is as close to being forward or neutral as it can be. So like you're looking at me, but you've got your head kind of cocked to the side, like, what are you talking about? And now you're going to turn your nose down and up. So there's that no movement. Breathing in, breathing out. And notice if the range of movement with your head tilted to the right is different than your range of movement was when your head was tilted to the left. Just a couple more of these. And then head comes back to center. We're going to release that arm. Just kind of shake that out a little bit here. Excellent. Yeah. A lot of noise at the base of the skull. Yeah, right? Anybody else have noise there? Yeah. So necks can be a little crunchy, crackly. Generally, noise without pain is okay. That's just usually an indication that you could use a little more stretching in there, like similar to what we're doing. A little massage for the muscles here. And actually, we're going to be doing that next. So yeah, so just kind of pay attention to that. If you've got that crunchy, crackly thing, you might want to be doing these neck movements a little bit more. So now take your hands and use the pads of your fingers, right? Not your fingertips, but the pads of your fingers. And go up on your neck, behind your ears. And using the pads, we're just going to make some little circles there, right? That should feel really good. It might even feel a little sore. Now, you might hear some crackly or feel some crackly stuff underneath your fingers, and that's okay. So you're making some circles, and then make your way down your neck toward your shoulders as you do this, right? So you can use, again, we're using just the pads of the fingers because we don't have to be digging in up there. And then come down to like your shoulder tops. Now, for most of us, we're going to get to the shoulder tops here, and it's going to go from fairly soft in the neck to, wow, what the heck is that? Really hard there, right? Yeah, very stiff muscles. These are your trapezius muscles. And for most of us, they get a little tight. Part of that is because we're carrying our heads wrong. Yeah, we're carrying our heads forward. When our heads are forward, these trapezius muscles are holding on for dear life so your head doesn't roll off. So the key to that is to bring your chin in a little bit. Give those muscles a little bit of a break. If you tuck your chin toward your collarbones somewhat, see if it feels a little less tender in those muscles that you're massaging. Now, if you want, you can take your hands and give those muscles a squeeze. So reach your fingers right back there and squeeze like you're squeezing a sponge, and then release. And if this hurts your hands, don't squeeze too hard. So again, not on your neck, but on the tops of the shoulders here. Give it a good squeeze. If it's easier to just do one at a time, you could go across your body and just do one like that. That can be a little bit easier. If you're comfortable doing both, do both. Keep breathing. Keep squeezing. So we're just trying to squeeze out all the tension that are in these muscles. I can tell by your faces, many of you, that this is uncomfortable. Yeah. When's the last time you did this? Never. Like never? You got to recruit somebody at home maybe to do it for you? Wouldn't that be nice? As long as you return the favor. See, that's the key, right? Okay, just a couple more. Squeeze, a good squeeze here. And the next time you squeeze, I'm going to ask you to hold, if you can, for just a moment, and turn your head a little from side to side. So you're just holding those muscles and squeezing, just turning your head, and then maybe going up and down a little bit. So we're kind of pinning the tissue there with the hands, and we're doing some movement. Good, and then release. Give your hands a little massage, right? So poor hands, they just did a whole lot of work. Thank you, hands. Let your hands rest on your lap. Now close your eyes for a moment, and I just want you to go into the sensations in your neck, your shoulders, your upper back. Breathing in and breathing out. Okay, let your eyes gently open. So remember now, if you can recall in your memory what we did, the first movement we did, I had you look from side to side, and I told you to just kind of take a little snapshot of what you saw and kind of store it away. So now we're going to do a little compare and contrast. So sitting with your shoulders facing forward, we're going to turn the head as far to the right as you can. Don't turn your back, don't turn your shoulders, but turn your head as far as you can. Let your eyes move as far around in the eye sockets as they'll go. And as you're seeing this now, compare this to what you saw when you first did this, before we did any stretching. And notice if you can see farther. It's a whole nother person. You can see the person behind you. And then come back to center. Wow, right? Turn to the left, same thing. So you turn in just your head. Let your eyes move as far around in the eye sockets as they'll go. Remember, you're checking out both direct vision and peripheral vision. See if you can call up the little snapshot you took at the beginning and compare on this side as well. And then come back to center. All right. How many noticed a big difference? It's remarkable, right? We didn't do like a whole lot of movement, but we did enough that it released some of the tension in the neck and shoulders. We don't get enough of this kind of movement in our lives. And I'm not a big proponent of exercise as much as I'm a big proponent of movement. So as much as you can move during the day, as much as you can make it a challenge when you have to look for something, instead of moving your whole body to turn and look, oh, isn't that pretty? You can just kind of sit and turn and give yourself a stretch when you're doing that, right? And I know we all have, if you've got a car that's like newer than like 10 years old, you've likely got a little backup camera there so you don't have to look. So you never use it. I love that. Yeah, so try not to use it. Or if you're going to use it, look first. See how far you can go, right? Things that you can do like that. So, all right. We're going to switch gears and move to the lower body a little bit. Going right to the feet, you guys. Extend your right leg. Yeah, right? I love feet. So squeeze and extend the toes. Without feet, where would we be? Home in bed. Right? Walking on our knees. Right. And boy, that would be a whole lot of trouble. So as you're squeezing and extending the toes, just notice how they're moving this morning. Are they happy toes? Are they sad toes? Can you spread your toes really wide? Even if you've got your socks on, spread your toes really wide. See how much space you can get in there. Like little monkey feet, right? Spreading those toes like as much as you could spread your fingers. And then squeeze your toes. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze your toes. Good, keep breathing. Squeeze those toes. And then extend the toes, spread them really, really wide. Great. And then relax that. We're going to go right to the other side. So left. So just the toes to start, right? So, ooh, I just heard a whole lot of crackling in there. Good, good. So as you're doing this, how are your toes moving? Are they moving like as one unit, or do they have a little bit of independence in there? Can you do like a little toe wave maybe? And then spread your toes really, really wide. Get your big toe and little toe as far away from one another as they can go. Breathing in, breathing out. Notice if it's easier on this foot or if it was easier on the other foot. And then squeeze your toes. Really squeeze, squeeze, squeeze them really hard. And then extend. Good. Really spread them nice and wide. We'll squeeze them one more time. Give them a good squeeze. And then extend. Excellent. And relax that and bring that foot back down to the floor. Right side, we're just going to point and flex the foot. So you can tap your heel, tap your toes. Good. And then let's tap the heel and see if you can rotate and tap just the big toe. And then back to your heel and rotate and tap just the little toe. And back to your heel and rotate and tap just the big toe. And tap just the little toe. Now you can do this without lifting your heel if that's bothersome for your leg. You can keep that on the floor. Keep your knee as straight as you can. So that's another little tip here to get some length. Good. And the next time you lift your leg up, we're going to circle around at the ankle. Again, if this is a little too much for your leg or your hip, you can have your heel on the floor and circle. Notice the direction you chose to start the circling and then switch that up. And notice how much rotation you have in your ankle. Is it really smooth all the way around, or is there like a little flat spot somewhere? And now take that ankle and we're going to make a figure 8. Again, if this gets to be too much, your leg is like too heavy, you can put your heel on the floor, even if just for a moment. So you got your figure 8. Everybody doing okay? Can you reverse the 8? All right, let's let that heel rest for a moment. So give the leg a little bit of a break. Yeah, thigh was working, right? Good. We're not done with the right foot quite yet. We're going to do one more thing with the right foot. So I'm going to have you lift your leg up, and with your big toe, you're going to point your foot. With your big toe, you're going to write your first name. Cursive, you guys. Cursive, yeah. Cursed, cursive. Right. Yeah, I don't know that anybody does cursive anymore. It's a lost art. Yeah, we all do, right? Yeah. They are bringing it back, yes. Oh, so some schools are bringing it back because they think it helps with critical thinking. I love that. So that's the problem with the young people today. Let's put that foot on the floor. All right. Okay, so how was that? Yeah. Tough to write with your big toe? Yeah. Let's try the other side. So we're going to point and flex that foot. All right. So how many of you are right hand dominant? Okay. So this is going to be really fun for you all. So now we're going to point the big toe. So rotate. So you got your big toe going in, and then heel, and then rotate. So you got your little toe going in, and then heel. So we're just kind of going back and forth. And you can lift your heel or not. Just keep your leg as straight as you can, because we want to really work those muscles, right? So we're rotating and tapping the toes, inside and outside, big toe and little toe. All the other toes in between, they just come along for the ride. And the next time you lift, we're going to circle around. And as you're circling, just kind of take note. Where is it nice and smooth on the circle, and where is there maybe like a little flat spot or a little hiccup in the circle? And reverse direction. Good. Keep breathing. I don't think I mentioned that on this side, but it's kind of important. Rest your heel for a moment. Just feel the muscles in that leg. Okay, now for the challenge, right? So we're going to lift that leg, point the toe, and now I'm going to ask you to write your last name. If you have, oh my God, it's a really long one, right? And if you have a short name, I didn't say this on the other side, but keep writing it over and over, right? Yeah, you don't just do it once and then you're done, guys. Don't forget to cross T's and dot I's. All right? And notice how challenging this is for you who are right hand dominant. This might be like a foreign language.
I wrote first and went that way.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Yeah, that's good. How we doing? You on the 7th iteration of your last name? It got shorter. Yeah, it got the little swoosh. There we go. All right, put that foot down. Good. So we give the legs a little bit of a break. Let's give the thighs a little massage here. Excellent. And then with your feet underneath your knees, we're going to come up on the toes. So come up as high as you can on your toes, like you're getting on tippy toes, right? And then come down. And we're going up and down. That's it, just kind of up and down. All right? So notice as you lift up how much flexion you have in your toes. So for some of us, having the feet right where they are is fine. This is as much flexion in my toes as I can get. For some of us, we might move the feet back a little bit and come up a little higher, right? For some, we're saying, nope, that's not going to be possible because when I come up here, then the balls of my feet come off the floor. So I didn't say that. But when you're coming up on your toes, see if you can keep the balls of your feet on the floor, right? Sorry, I did not say that. That's critical. So we're not doing ballerina kind of lifts. We're doing Barbie lifts. Y'all know what a Barbie foot looks like, right? Yep. So we're kind of doing that Barbie lift. Now, if this is like way too much with your feet back here, come out in front a little bit. Now, here's the really interesting thing. One foot may be able to go way back, and one foot may have to go forward a little bit, right? Especially if you have a little bump up here on the top of your big toe. Not out here, but up here. If you got a little bump up there, that can actually create a little less flexion in that big toe. So we want to just kind of honor that. How's everybody doing? Yeah. So we're doing maybe like 30 of these, somewhere around there. This is a good little thing for your calves as well. Okay. And then relax that. All right. So now bring your feet underneath your knees again. We're going to come up on the toes, right? So is that comfortable for everybody to have the feet here and come up on the toes? Okay. All right. Lower your heels. I'm going to make this a little more challenging for the legs. So I'm going to have you come forward, place your hands or your forearms on your legs, right? So I'm telling you like this really important thing in confidence, right? So you're like leaning up really close to me so you can hear. So we're right here, and you've got some weight on your legs now, right? Keep the weight on your legs and come up on your toes. And then come down, right? So can you feel that in your calves? Oh, yeah, right? We're doing some calf lifts with weight, which is great for building strength in those calf muscles. Now, if you want, you can move your feet back a little bit, or you can move them forward a little bit. If you want a little bit more lift or a little more challenge, yeah. How we doing? Excellent. So see, when you're watching Vanna on Wheel of Fortune, lean forward and do this, right? You do like about 30 of these. So keep the weight there. You can even, if you want, instead of just letting your body weight rest here, push down into your elbows and forearms. So now you're using your belly. Can you feel your belly engage when you do that? Are you breathing when you're doing that? No. No. Okay, so you might want to add the breath, just so you stay on the chair and you don't end up on the floor. That's the cool thing about breathing, right? If you stop breathing voluntarily, your brain says, hey, dummy, we're going to make you lose consciousness, so you start breathing again. Because you don't know how to do this. Your ankles want to go out, yes. So you're coming up, let me just see, you're coming up really high on that, so you might bring your feet back a little bit more. Back under the chair a little bit more. Yeah, see if that helps. Okay, good. All right, and then come all the way up. Whew. Feel those calves, right? Let's give the calves a little stretch. So reach out your right leg. Have it nice and straight, toes reaching toward your shin. That's going to stretch your calf, right? So when your toes are reaching toward your shin, you're shortening the muscles here in the front of the leg, and you're lengthening the muscles here in the back of that lower leg. Now with the toes reaching toward the shin and the heel on the floor, see if you can lean forward a little bit. Slide your hand down your leg. Your big toe. Just kidding. Yeah, grab for your big toe. If you can't grab your big toe, grab for your big toe. You'll really feel that in the back of that leg, right? Now, some people might be feeling it kind of in the knee or the back of the upper leg. The heel is on the floor, you guys, so don't have your heel lifted up off the floor. You want to have your heel down on the floor. Breathing in, breathing out. And then come all the way up. Excellent. Let's go right to the other side because we want to stretch that out. So again, heel on the floor, toes reaching toward your shin. You're going to lean forward. Keep that knee straight, right? So when you bend your knee, you're actually not going to be stretching the muscles up above. So we're going to keep that that knee straight if you can. Reach down, grab for your big toe. Yeah, some people get a prize. You might notice too, you can do it more, you can get closer to your big toe on one side than you could on the other. Isn't that interesting, right? And then come all the way up. Excellent. Okay. Who noticed they could get closer to the big toe on one side than the other? Okay, so for every time you stretch that side where you're able to get closer to the big toe, you got to do 3 times on the other side. Yeah. because you're a little bit tighter on that side, right? So that's how you kind of give it a little bit of balance, is by stretching that a little extra. Okay, hold on to your chair here and have your hands like right in line with your hips. Pull your belly in, shoulders above your hips here. Breathing in, breathing out. We're going to bend and extend the right leg. Bend and extend. So nice and slow. So when you go slow, you have to use your muscles. When you go fast, you're using momentum. So I really want you to use your muscles. When you extend your legs, squeeze these muscles here in the front of the thigh. Really give them a good squeeze. And when you pull the heel underneath, imagine you could kick the bottom of your chair, so really engage the muscles here in the back of the leg, right? So breathing in and breathing out. So when you extend your leg, you're shortening the muscles here in the front of the thigh, and you're lengthening the muscles in the back of the thigh. Right? So we're doing double duty. We're strengthening and stretching at the same time. And you're breathing, maybe just a little bit. Good. And then we're going to put that foot down on the floor. We're going to go right to the other side. So same thing. Extend and squeeze those muscles. Bend and squeeze these muscles back here. Breathing in, breathing out. Good. Slow, slow, slow. So once again, when you extend your leg, you're strengthening the muscles here in the front of the thigh, and you're stretching the muscles in the back of the thigh. When you bend your knee, you're strengthening the muscles in the back of the thigh, and you're stretching the muscles in the front of the thigh. The quiz will be multiple choice, so don't worry about it. Good. One more time. And then place that foot down. Good. All right, let's scoot over to the right a little bit. Okay. Holding onto your chair with your left hand, just so I don't want to lose anybody on the floor. We're going to lift the right leg up, bring it out to the side, place it down, and then slide it in. Lift, out, down, and slide. Getting to me. So we're lifting up and going out and down. Now try not to lean your body to the side when you lift, right? So try not to lean over like this. See if you can use the muscles here in the leg. And you don't have to lift very far. By the way, you can lift just a little bit. And if it's impossible to lift, just slide in and out. That's okay too. Right? Good. One more time. Good. And then we're just going to kind of use the heel and the toes, walk the foot out and around as far back as it'll go without turning your body, and then walk it back in. Now you might need to change your position on the chair if you have a little shorter legs or longer legs. So we're going out, and go as far back as you can so you feel that kind of in the groin or in the inner thigh a little bit. Everybody got that? And then the next time you go out, walk your foot as far away from you as it'll go. Can you all feel a stretch in through this side? Yeah? Good. Some people have their toes on the floor. Some people have their heel on the floor. Some people are on the side of the foot or on the top part of the foot. Wherever you're at is fine. It doesn't really matter. What we're going to do now is take the right hand and reach that right hand up and to the left. So do you feel that stretch? And then we're going to come back down. So that's the whole thing. So reach out through your right toes, reach out through your right fingers, breathing in and breathing out. So we're trying to get the fingers and the toes on the right side as far away from one another as they'll go. That's the stretching part. So you can even bend your body or lean your body a little bit to the left if you want. Right? Good. Next time you're over there, I'm going to ask you to hold for 3 breaths. So as you're breathing, I want you to breathe right into here, into the rib cage here, right? See that that part of the rib cage expand and contract there, right? So breathe in, breathe out. Really stretch. Good. We should be on our 3rd breath just about now. And then slowly come down. Excellent. Take the heels and the heel and toes and walk that foot in. Bring it in, come back to the center of your chair, extend both legs, point your feet, And notice if your right leg is longer than your left leg. Very interesting, huh? All right, bend the knees. Let's come over to that the other right side, which would be the left side. And we're going to start the same way. So holding on to the chair with the right hand now, going to lift that left leg up, bring it out and down, and slide it back in. So get your bum in the right position on the chair so that you don't feel like you're going to fall off. Right? And again, just watch that you're not leaning your body, that you're not lifting your leg by leaning to one side. You might feel a little bit of a tendency to lean to that right side, but try to lift just the leg using the muscles. Right? So how about 2 more? And this might be harder on one side than the other. Good. And the next time your foot is down and in, we're going to use the heel and toes and walk that foot out, walk it back, and then walk it forward. And again, make sure your backside is in a good position for you on the chair. So when your foot comes back, when it goes back toward the wall behind you, I want you to really bring it back there so you feel a bit of a challenge in through the groin and that inner thigh. You might even feel it, I didn't say this, but you might even feel it kind of in the back part, in the glute, in the hip a little bit. Everybody doing okay? Excellent. Okay, so the next time your foot is way out there, I'm going to ask you to really walk it as far away as it'll go. So it's like your leg is trying to run away from you, right? Your foot is trying to crawl across the floor. Again, some people the foot might be straight. Some people the foot might be turned. You might be on your toe. You might be just on your heel. You might have your whole foot on the floor. So now we're going to stretch the left arm up into the right. So just take that left arm up into the right. Feel that little twist there. So you got your right hand on the chair and then come back down. So we're just going to breathe in and breathe out, right? So inhale whenever you feel like it's comfortable to inhale, and exhale when you feel like it's comfortable to exhale. Some people like to inhale when they reach up. Some people like to exhale when they reach up. There's no real prescription for this. It's what's working in your body, right? So the next time that you have that arm raised, we're going to hold there and reach your fingers as far away from your toes as they'll go, and reach your toes as far away from your fingers as they'll go. Now, if having your arm up over your head doesn't work, you can have your arm a little bit lower. That's okay. You just want to make sure you're reaching as far as you can. So let's do 3 breaths here. Right? So a nice long breath in and out. We'll call that 2. And then 1 more. Good. And then lower that back down. Great. Use your heel and your toes. Walk it back. Come to the center of your chair. Extend your legs. Point your toes. Okay, let's hope the legs are about the same length again, right? Everybody doing okay with that? All right, bend your knees. Bring your feet in. We're going to do a little quarter turn on the chair over to the left. Okay, so last week we did a little stretch for the front of the hip. Do you all remember the stretch we did last week for the hip? We're going to do that again this week. So, actually, you know what? Come back to the center again because I want to explain this one more time. Okay, so there's a couple things that we want to do. Hip flexor muscles and quadriceps muscles. So the muscles here from your knee to above your hip, they get tight when we sit, right? So I'm in this position, so all these muscles are communicating to the brain, hey, I only need this much length down here. Don't give me any more because that'll be kind of unstable. So the brain says, okay, that's the length you have. So when I go to stand up, yeah, y'all got that, right? You know what that's like. Yep, and then you kind of do this for a minute. And then it works itself out, right? Yeah, that's how we get up. So what happens when we try and stretch the front here, because we're in that position, we use the back, right? So here, I'm trying to stand up straight. I'll use my back to stand up straight. You see I still got a bend here and a bend there. I'm not really straightening here. So when we do this little exercise, if you remember it, so this was the exercise we did last week, right? Where we had, so stay where you are for just a minute. Don't turn yet. Don't turn yet. So when I do this, now if this is really tight, I'm going to try and get that straight. Watch my back. See that arch in my back? I'm stretching my back. I am not stretching my hip flexors. I'm not stretching my thigh. So what I'm going to do here instead is tuck the tailbone under. So I got to use my belly muscles, tuck the tailbone under, and now try and stretch that. Now what I'm feeling right in this moment, I'm feeling it down here in my thigh, and I'm feeling a little bit here, but I'm feeling it mostly down here in my thigh, because that's where I happen to be tight this morning. So as soon as I want to let go of that stretch, all I got to do is arch my back. And now my back is going, oh, it's me again, right? I'm the one that has to stretch. How about the leg? So I'm going to tuck that tailbone under. So got that? All right. Let's just take a breath before we do that. Let's give this a try together. So just remember, we're trying to stretch from here to below the knee, really, but we're trying to stretch this part of the body, not this part of the body. You get enough back and forth. The low back does an awful lot of concession for tight muscles in the hip. So do your quarter turn to the left. And you want to have this cheek, this right cheek, kind of off the chair a little bit, right? Okay, so before we even throw the leg back, what I want you to do is notice your hips. So you're gonna lift your tailbone, right? So arch your low back. See what that feels like? And then you're gonna tuck, right? So you're pulling your belly in. So just do this a couple of times. So you're doing these little pelvic tilts, right? So you're arching and then flattening the back. Okay, so get into that nice flat back. So you're pulling your belly in, right? Breathing. And then take this right leg and slide or step it back without arching that low back, you guys. So once you get the leg back, I see a lot of low backs arched right now. So when you get your leg back, I'm going to ask you to back it off a little bit. Come forward a little bit with the leg. Okay. So now for those of you who are sitting like this, right? What I want you to do is bring this butt cheek down toward the floor and tuck your tailbone just like this. See this? You can even take your hands. Tuck the tailbone under. So your pelvis should be back a little bit. Everybody got that? Okay. Now slide that foot back without arching your back. And bring your knee closer to the floor. And breathe. Wow, right? Amazing. So your body is informing you right now of where you're tight in the front part of your leg and your hip. So we're just going to hold that for just another breath. And then relax that. And to relax that, you can kind of untuck your pelvis a little, lean into the back of the chair, slide your foot forward, come back to the center. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Nina. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so Nina makes a good point. So the hamstrings are back here, right? So when we try and stretch the front of the body, when we've got tight hamstrings, what we're doing, if you remember when we had the leg forward, anytime you're stretching on the front, you're shortening on the back. If your hamstrings are tight, they can go into spasm because they don't know how to get any shorter. They're like, I don't know what you want me to do, so I'm just going to have a fit. So that's what the hamstrings are doing there. So in order to kind of work with that, a good hamstring stretch is with the leg extended and then bending forward. So remember we did that first. So that's going to stretch the back of the lower leg. It's also going to stretch the hamstrings if the knee is straight. So we want to stretch the hamstrings a little bit, give them just a little bit of, hey, you got a little more length in here. But that's a good observation, Nina. Yeah. Do that first and then do this. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah. Yeah. In the morning. You get a cramp there. Yeah. So you know what? I'll talk to you after class because I got a couple ideas that I can give you for that. All right. So let's shift to the right. Okay. So we're going to start first by having this left hip off the chair a little bit. right? Hold on to your chair so you don't fall off. Now, before you even start throwing the leg back, I'm going to have you tilt your pelvis, right? So rock it forward and back. Rock it forward and back. Right? Can you all feel that in your low back? Can you feel it in your belly? Good. Okay, so we're going to tuck the tailbone under. We're going to tuck that pelvis, right? And now take that left leg and slide it back a bit. As soon as you feel the low back start to arch, you've gone too far, so you're going to bring your foot back. You're going to tuck the tailbone. You can take your hands and do it for yourself, right? So kind of tucking, rolling, and then bring that foot back and press the knee toward the floor. And keep breathing. So hopefully you're feeling something in the front of that leg or the hip, down by the knee. Breathe in, breathe out. It might be different than the other side. Good. Just one more breath in and out, you guys. Great. And then you can release that by releasing your hip, lean into the back of your chair, slide the foot around, come back to the front. What did you notice on that side? Yikes. Yeah, yikes. So was one side tighter than the other? Anybody have that recognition? So that can be a multitude of things. We tend to be stronger on one side, more flexible on the other. However, it's not always consistent from upper body to lower body. Quite often we'll be tight on like the lower right and we'll be tight on the upper left, right? So we have kind of this diagonal twist in our bodies. So I think doing these things helps us recognize when we've got some imbalance. So if you're tighter on one side when you do that, hold it 3 times longer than on the side that's a little bit easier. That'll just try to bring things back into a little bit more balance. So sit comfortably now. You can sit into the back of your chair, or you can sit with your feet on the floor and straight up. And when you get to a comfortable position, I'm going to have you close your eyes. And feel your feet on the floor. Feel your heels and the balls of your feet, your toes, the bottoms of your toes, that is. Press down a little bit. And press evenly, so you're not pushing more into your toes or you're not pushing more into your heels. You're kind of pressing evenly through all those little parts of your foot on the right and all those little parts of your foot on the left. And feel your leg muscles nice and strong and active. And feel your breath moving in and out of your body. Breathing in and out through your nose if that's possible. And notice where your feet are on the floor, where your backside is on the chair. What is the quality of the contact between your feet and the floor and your backside in the chair? Are you leaning more into your feet? Are you leaning more into your buttocks? Are you more weighty on one side than the other? See if you can create some balance there. So your feet are pressing as hard as your butt is pressing into the chair. The right side and left side are in balance. And your shoulders are right above your hips. And your head is right above your shoulders. And notice what your shoulders feel like. Notice what your upper arms feel like. Your upper back. Your chest. Notice the right side of your neck and the left side of your neck. Notice the front and back of your neck. And now slow down your breathing. Let the inhalations and exhalations get nice and slow. And the slower they are, see if you can deepen them. And as you're deepening your breath, notice the pauses between the inhalation and exhalation, and between the exhalation and inhalation. And with this focus on breath, notice your physical body as well, where your feet are on the floor, where your backside is on the chair, where your hands are on your lap. Notice how you can observe all of this simultaneously, your physical body and your breath, the contact, the rhythm. Take your hands up to your chest, placing one on top of the other. Let's take a nice deep breath in and let it out with a long, audible sigh. And if you'd like, maybe take a moment just to express some gratitude to yourself, to your body, to your breath, to your beautiful mind. And then if you'd like, maybe opening your eyes and just acknowledging all these wonderful people here in the room. You're welcome. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you all next week.